Welcome to episode 210 of Ecom One. I'm Richard Hill, your host. Today, I'm joined by the powerhouse founders, Samantha and Stephanie, the sisters behind Pretty Lavish, the contemporary occasion wear brand that's grown from a spare bedroom side hustle into a 50-strong team shipping thousands of timeless pieces every week. In this episode, we cover how Sammy's fashion buying eye and Steph's finance brain turned a £500 test order into a global cult. Slow fashion thinking in a fast fashion world, 12-month design lead times, rental partnerships, and a resale roadmap. Hard-won lessons, including the first collection that appeared on a rival site before they'd even received stock. And we dive into their 2025 vision, deeper community events, US expansion, and doubling down on automation. Now, if you enjoy these honest founder stories packed with practical e-commerce takeaways, do me one massive favor. Hit the follow or subscribe button wherever you're listening to this episode so you're always the first to know when a new episode is released. Well, welcome to the podcast, Sammy and Steph. I think before we get into everything Pretty Lavish and e-commerce, I think it'd be great for you guys to introduce yourselves and how you got into the world of e-commerce and fashion.
So I'm Samantha. I'm co-founder of the business, obviously, alongside Stephanie. I've come from more of a fashion background, so was working in fashion buying when we set up the brand, and that was kind of more my skill set, the more the creative, the product side of things, and then let Stephanie kind of talk about her background.
Yeah, so I'm Steph. Obviously, we're sisters and we set up a business in 2013. My background, as Sammy mentioned, is finance, so completely different to fashion, but obviously between the two of us creates quite a nice partnership in terms of setting up a business, so it works really well from our side. It's been around since.
So we've got fashion and we've got business, and they've come together to create a Pretty Lavish. So how did it sort of start? I love these sort of founder stories. Obviously, you've grown up together, and you're both on different paths, I guess, as younger ladies doing your careers and working and so forth. But then obviously, the business started. Talk about that story, how it sort of came about at the beginning.
Yeah, so we've come from a very entrepreneurial family. So my dad had a business with his brother, and kind of we were around that constantly growing up, so we could see firsthand how hard he was working and the lifestyle he was able to kind of give us as children. So I think from very early on, that kind of entrepreneurial spirit has been in us, and my mum worked for the business as well, so it's very much kind of a family affair. And so I feel like we've always kind of wanted to have our own business. My dad used to say to us when we were younger, like, what do you want to do? You can do anything you put your mind to, as long as, you believe in yourself. So having that kind of mindset from a very early age definitely helped. And then, obviously, like we said earlier, I was kind of working in fashion buying. Stephanie was working in finance. And at the time that we started the business in 2013, there was so much kind of going for people to just kind of start something at a very low cost. So Instagram was just kind of getting going. And obviously that was a massive kind of free marketing tool where it was a lot less saturated than it is now. And Shopify was kind of really growing. So able to kind of, launch a website at very low cost. And with kind of both our skill sets combined, we thought, why not try it alongside our full-time jobs and just see what happens. That was kind of how we got going. I think growing up, for me, like in my teenage years, I lost a lot of confidence, and fashion was a big part of me getting that back and kind of, feeling like myself again. So we wanted to build something that just allowed women to kind of feel their best selves and feel as confident as they could. So I guess that's kind of, why we started the brand and how we started. And it's very much kind of grown organically since then.
Yeah, I think you kind of fell into the kind of e-com world. It wasn't something that we had like a big business strategy to set up the brand. It was almost like a hobby at the side, and we just evolved it from there. And it was very slow, organic growth to start with.
Yeah.
Mm. So in the early days, then, where were you selling? Was it like locally in sort of markets and things like that, or?
We had we set up our first initial website was a big failure. So a company to set up this website. This is, I think, maybe before Shopify days, or it was very early in that sense. But we had a company set up a website and it just didn't work. Like we was driving traffic there, it kept crashing. So we learned very quickly that we needed to have a strong infrastructure. And that's where we kind of moved over to Shopify, and we've been with them since. And it's just such a great tool for any kind of small businesses starting out, and to maintain that as you grow and scale as a business moving forward as well.
Yeah, I think obviously, Shopify. We've had the various leadership team on over the years. Obviously, fantastic platform. Probably half of our clients are on Shopify. So we've gone from probably as young ladies watching your parents run their business and your father's business, and obviously inspired by that and thinking, no doubt in the back of your mind, what are we going to do, or what am I going to do, and then coming together as sisters, with the sort of fashion experience, business experience, putting those together, getting started. But I guess, while you were doing that, maybe I'm putting words in your mouth, you're obviously working full-time jobs, maybe doing your working your careers, working your jobs. At what point did you think, do you know what? This is a goer. This is a proper, we're gonna give it everything. And what was it? Was a sort of pivotal moment when you said, right, or did you work to a certain point where a certain income was there so you could then stop your other jobs?
Yeah. I think we both had different experiences with that sense. Sammy, I don't know if you want to talk through your side of things, but for me, mine was a very gradual exit from my job. But Sammy actually exited first, so I'll let you talk through that.
Yeah, so I was working with Fresh and Barn, and then me and my husband, or boyfriend at the time, but decided to go travelling, and it was at a time where we was both living at home and kind of had no overheads. And I thought I either go back to work when we come back from traveling, or this is like the time to kind of just put all my time into the business and just see what happens. Because obviously I was working on the business in the evenings and on the weekends, and it was definitely kind of gaining some momentum, but it was never going to be sustainable in terms of kind of being able to pay kind of us a wage. So I said to myself, I give myself 6 months, put all my time into it, and we definitely kind of started to see the rewards from that, and it was definitely kind of gaining a lot more momentum off the back of the more time that we put into it. And Steph, I'll let you talk in terms of how you was able to kind of like grow it, slowly exit up your
so Sammy was kind of made the first plunge, and I think we kind of reaped the rewards from seeing almost the input you get from the output. So like the more time we put in, the more we were seeing like the rewards from that. So my exit was slightly different. I was in a more corporate job where it was I was really lucky in the sense that my boss was really supportive, and I went from working 5 days to 4 days to 3 days, and it was a really slow exit, and it almost made that transition feel a lot less scary. So I'm always really grateful to have that opportunity. And then actually then once I left completely, I still do some contracted work, so I still had some financial ties there as well, because I think it was a good few years before we started paying ourselves, so we was almost working for free. And as Sammy mentioned, we was really lucky that in the sense that we was living at home, and we had support from our mum, who we didn't have high overheads, so it was almost like we put everything into it and we didn't have too much to lose, which was
and I think it took like a good 3-4 years before we really kind of felt like this is gonna work. There were definitely times that we questioned what we were doing. So
I think we took on our first employee and paid them before we even paid ourselves.
I think I love listening to this, because it's obviously what one of you Sammy, you went traveling and obviously you went away and came back, thought, right, let's go for it, I'm gonna go for it, sort of thing, and so that's like probably like the traveling thing helped you to sort of get clarity, maybe, and obviously seeing things and experience different things and thinking there's maybe more out there that I want to do, i.e., build my own business, so quite different, very, very different stories, and I think that'll resonate with a lot of the listeners that are either in a full-time position and thinking about
maybe it relates to our actually characters as well. Like Sammy's obviously more creative and probably more a risk taker, and I'm more kind of finance. So actually
counting the pennies more. Sammy's spending them.
Exactly. So I'm more like, okay, I'm going to do this gradually, or Sammy's like, bam, I'm going to go straight in. So
yeah. No, thank you very much for sharing that. So then to give the listeners a sort of feel for the size of the business now, then obviously you started, it's just, Sammy, then yourself, and then you went full time, and you're literally on below minimum wage or no wage for 2 or 3 years. And then obviously things start to get quite exciting. And so where are you now with the business then? What's the sort of size and scale of the business?
So we're now a team of, I think, 47. So a huge team from where we started. As we said, it's always been quite slow organic growth, and we've not taken investment. So we've always reinvested everything that we've earned back into the business, and that's allowed us kind of test and learn at a speed that's able to support growth at a steady rate. The teams that we're at a really pivotal point now where we're really looking to scale up, and there's lots of opportunity. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Brilliant. Well, thank you for that. So, would you class yourself as fast fashion? And if not, why not?
Yeah, no, definitely not. That is the complete opposite of what we are trying to do. I mean, firstly, our lead times are so long. So from initial kind of design concepts to the product launching is about a year, so we can't physically kind of jump on those fast moving trends, and we've never wanted to either. I think a big part of why we started the brand and what we were trying to do is that those timeless designs that you can pull out of your wardrobe kind of year after year. And we've got products and designs that we've launched like 4 or 5 years ago that we're still relaunching every year because our customer loves them so much. And it just shows kind of what we're trying to do in the fact that you can pull those styles out of your wardrobe every year, and as long as the quality is there, they'll last. And so fast fashion is the complete opposite.
Is the opposite, yeah. It's a little bit of a naughty trick question, really. I apologize for that, but I mean, before I came in and hit record, I went round the office. We've got probably about 15 ladies in today in the business, and I was like, Pretty Lavish. Oh God, that's fantastic. My friend's wedding, the bridesmaids were all wearing that, and I've got this dress, and and I've got one last year. I'll be bringing it out soon, spring summer collection, and it's very it's a fellow. Yeah. Another team are very excited to have a listen afterwards. So obviously started off, obviously no doubt we could talk about a lot of the war stories of e-commerce, like you say, right at the beginning, the challenges with the platform, and then obviously taking the plunge and investing in a good platform. But how are you pivoting the business now to these probably like changes in behavioral buying and the way people are buying with social selling, the rise of secondhand, a lot of people are buying more and more secondhand. What are you guys doing to sort of combat that or to work that to your advantage?
Yeah, I think we're definitely exploring rental. For us, it's a big opportunity. I think where we've been such a big occasion wear brand, and it kind of that lends itself to that model. We've actually just launched on High Street, which is kind of testing the rental model, which is really positive enough. We've had a great reaction from the first couple of weeks of sales, which is really positive. And we like to keep our buyers really tight. For us, it's really important that we're kind of bringing the right level of stocks, that we're hitting higher sell-throughs to keep our kind of stock management in a good position and keep the business kind of being able to trade agilely as well.
I think for us as well, our sustainability and compliance manager has just come back from a conference that talked a lot about resale and that kind of circularity model. So it's definitely something that we want to explore more and bring into kind of our business over the next year or so. But rental's a big focus at the minute, and how we can kind of utilize kind of our product offering to help that circularity.
Yeah, and I think as well it's kind of the education piece. We use our socials to kind of educate our customers around how they can get the wear out their pieces, how they can style in different ways, and that's been kind of part of our ethos since the early days. They've always kind of shown the versatility in our pieces, and understanding that you can reach for them year on year as well. There's pieces that I've had in a wardrobe from years and years ago that I still reach for today as well, and that just kind of cements.
So it's like community piece, building that awareness around that you don't just you buy that maybe for this particular occasion, but you could wear it for this, you could wear it for that. Have you thought about it's not you might have bought it for spring, but actually you could wear it here and here throughout the year, and it's getting used again and again. Yeah. So what around social selling then? Obviously I had a little look at your socials before we jumped on. Is there anything there that you're doing that's sort of exciting you at the moment, or anything you could share with our listeners that are maybe, they're experimenting with, or they're using TikTok, for example? What's working well for you at the moment, or anything that you're really going in fairly deep into at the moment?
Now, you might be looking for an SEO boost, a down-to-earth digital PR campaign to share your story, or maybe just some straightforward technical help to amp up your performance. Now that's where Ecom Now comes in, a partner that's all about making things easier for your online store. Our services cover everything from creating professional content for your e-commerce categories to refining your product descriptions. Now, whether you're just starting out or have been in it for a while, we're here to deliver real, impactful results that add to your bottom line without unnecessary commitments. You can order one-off or multiple projects with a quick turnaround. Simply choose what you need.
Yeah, I think for us, our socials are more about kind of building that awareness and like kind of building the community and getting people invested in the brand, not just about kind of like selling product. So that's kind of how we utilize our socials. And I think there are things that we're exploring, like TikTok Shop, and how can we kind of tap into that, which I know is kind of growing exceptionally fast. So that is definitely something that we're exploring at the minute. But at the minute, at this stage, kind of we're just using our socials to really bring our community together and kind of get them invested in the brands and tell our stories.
I think
so like customer insights. Sorry, Steph.
No, I was going to say, I just think we use the different platforms. Like Instagram for us is kind of showcasing, like Tammy said, the brand and our story, and understand, like almost teasing product that way. Whereas TikTok is more about like the behind the scenes and like actually being more like loose with our content. Instagram's a little bit more created, and TikTok is more fun and kind of giving more insights into the brand behind the scenes, which I think people are really enjoying. I think that's a big part of what customers want to see at the moment. Is more that kind of storytelling behind the scenes and that raw kind of footage.
I think as founders, you obviously, had a look at you do obviously use LinkedIn. How important do you think that's been as sort of like brand positioning you guys? Just thinking, as the founders that are listening to this episode, is there any sort of opportunities that have come from that for the brand for yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I think LinkedIn is a huge opportunity. I actually don't probably use it enough. We both probably don't use it enough, but I do try to kind of keep updates on there. We've got the team that focus on like the business page on LinkedIn. And again, it's kind of building that community, showcasing what we're doing from a cultural perspective, and like making our online presence on LinkedIn feel like it's an attractive place to work, which we feel really passionate about, building culture internally. So, and just shouting about like what we're doing as well, aside from just sales and business metrics, but like what else we're doing as a team. People want to hear more about that as well. And I think LinkedIn has so much opportunity, and it's a good place to be. Kind of raise awareness.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at your post, Steph, from I think it was probably a week, maybe a few days ago, and you talked about the brand day or the offsite brand day. And then you shared a few different things, around that brand day. I think that's a really good, when you're talking about culture, team, I think it'd be good if you're okay sharing sort of how important that's been, and maybe at the start of the brand days for the team and the sort of things that you do on those brand days. Because I think there'll be a lot of listeners that are maybe at a point where, trying to get everyone on the same page, trying to get everybody on the, on the vision of the company. And I just love what you were doing there. I've watched a few of the videos that your team have produced, and obviously great team days, but obviously underlying they're really important. What would you say about those brand days?
I think they're so important. Being a hybrid team, like the team worked 2 days in the office and 3 days outside, so it's important to have those days where we all come together. We have our brand days twice a year after each season ends. Just to kind of reflect on kind of past performance and like what went well, what didn't go as well, what we can take away, what we can learn. I just think it's really important. So as a kind of cohesive to bring the opportunity to bring everyone together. It's also about that team building. They're off-site as well. We'll usually do one off-site and one in the office. So the one we had this time was off-site, but I think we're looking to maybe push more off-site because it was just such a positive day. It's just
a change in environment, I think, kind of really helps kind of inspire the team and kind of helps the motivation as well. So
and it gives all the team an opportunity to kind of talk about what they're doing at the moment. Like we're showcasing new products. We've got like a culture champions team that talks around kind of everything they're doing to maintain our culture as we grow, which is really important to us.
So different departments do a little segment sort of thing potentially.
Yeah, and we take feedback each time as well. It's very important that after those days we're getting the feedback from the team, like what did you enjoy, what do you want to see more of, what could we be doing differently, and we're involved with them each time we launch a brand day.
And we go through kind of like our company objectives and kind of our future goals as well. So I think that really helps kind of get everyone focused on what we're working on this year and make sure kind of that's really cemented in terms of everyone's focuses for the year. So just bringing everyone together on that vision is really important too.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I think that's just the best way to run a business personally. I'm curious now, you might not like this question, but I'm curious, how transparent are you with the sort of financials of the business? Do you share, because no doubt I know the answer to the question, but to one of the questions, but obviously you're forecasting, predicting, and obviously you're buying ahead a lot of stock and material and so forth.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got your financial targets, and that season then passes. Do you then share, we hit target, we're off target? And how transparent are you with the sort of financials with the team?
I'd say we're very transparent. We have our weekly trays, which we have a lot of people join to understand kind of the shape of the last week's performance. We have monthly whizzies, a team that are part of. And in terms of like a whole company wide, as I mentioned, in those brand days, we go over performance, like where we targeted to hit sales. Did we meet them? Did we not? The reasons why we are where we are. And there's also the opportunity to ask questions as well. So we try to be as transparent as possible. We also, the whole company receives a daily update in terms of sales performance. So they're receiving that every day to say, like, this is what we did yesterday. Like, this is where we're tracking. Are we meeting forecasts? Are we not? So we try to do as much as we can in terms of being transparent, and that is a value of us in terms of not just with financials, but across everything, like our relationship building, our partners, ensuring that we're transparent, and our whole model as well online, making sure it's as transparent as possible.
No, that is brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. So change of direction for a little bit. So what's one piece of advice that's really helped you with your business journey? And that can be sort of personal, professional, maybe one from each of you.
I think, there's been so much that's helped us along the way. I think the one that maybe sticks out for me is the fact that you don't always have to follow the conventional route. And I think growing kind of the fashion business, although I come from a bit more of a fashion background, I was only in it for a few years, and we've kind of just figured things out ourselves. And in the early days, we were definitely not following the conventional route of how kind of brands would normally work and operate and scale. So I think that was actually a real benefit for us, but we definitely went through a period of kind of trying to do things how we felt like kind of the industry was doing things, and like trying to do things and how we felt like everyone else was doing it. And I think we learned a lot of lessons there that don't always feel like you've got to do kind of operate in the same ways that things have been done kind of historically. So I think that's the biggest thing for me, that kind of trust our gut, know your business and know what works for you, and don't feel like you've just got to do things how everyone else does it. That's ultimately what sets you apart.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think for me, the biggest learning in the last couple of years is how we maintain to be agile as a business. So like as a small growing business, your advantage is that you can make decisions a lot quicker than bigger corporations. And it's how we maintain that as we grow, that is such an advantage to get kind of things across the line, test and learn quickly. So for me, it's like how we maintain that as we grow. I think that's really important.
Very nimble, very agile. Trying things. Great advice. I think that's the problem when certain businesses maybe get to a certain size. It might take a month to make a decision, where obviously when you can maintain that agility, you can move quick with the market. Especially thinking like the UK weather, very unpredictable, isn't it? And obviously that probably on your mind quite a lot, and you've got to make decisions where, like now it's beautiful weather. We're sitting here at the beginning of April. So I guess, you're certain, obviously, no doubt, I think you launched recently your spring summer collection. Obviously that now the weather's even better than probably predicted. It's like outselling now. You got to maybe make some decisions on what to do. Do we order more of this?
It's actually strange how weather comes in to kind of customer behavior. We do try to track it as well. Like we've got a marketing calendar where we try to plot what the weather is. So when we're looking at last year, like did we see a spike because the weather was really hot that day, or like was it a change in seasonality? So we try to look at weather in alignment, and sometimes being in the UK, the weather isn't as good planned, so you might bring out a kind of spring collection, but you have to be reactive. So we do try to chop and change as we feel like the weather's changing as well.
Definitely tricky kind of in those transitional periods. So like when you're just kind of going into a season. I remember last year we launched coats in September, and it's like the hottest week ever. So we try and be a bit more nimble now and kind of flex our launches depending on weather. And have that flexibility internally to be able to make decisions based on the weather as well.
So even around our shoots that we was looking to shoot in Lake Como, I think in March, and the weather was just looking terrible, and we had to like push that gap because it's like there's just no point of trying to do a campaign where the weather's not great. It just
I know the ad, we obviously behind the podcast, we've got the agency and the ads team, you know, they've got scripts that basically will adjust bids based on weather. So if weather hits below X, you know, it'll bid more on. So for example, we have clients that sell batteries, you know, you know, if the weather's minus whatever, its likelihood of your car not starting is a lot higher than, but on the other side, obviously certain fashion, etc. If the weather hits X, then bid more on, you know, another 5% on the bids and so forth. Obviously, you know, a 12-year plus journey to date, you know, and obviously some very exciting stories there. But I'm sure along the way, there's been a few challenges. So I think it'd be great if you don't mind sharing maybe, you know, one of your biggest challenges, you know, and how you faced that and how you dealt with that.
Yeah, I think as a business changes over time, the challenges are different, but you're always facing challenges. And I think we kind of say to our team, you have to be solution driven. So like getting in that mindset, okay, we're faced with a problem, how do we overcome this? What is the answer? And I think that's how we attack most of the challenges that we come across. In the early days, we had challenges in the sense that where we were just learning, our first collection that we designed with a manufacturer, we actually saw launch on a different site before we'd even received the stock. And we understood that they had produced a larger production run, sold off the designs, and then this other bigger brand, well-known brand, had our designs before us. So we knew at that point, okay, we didn't have the right contracts in place, we didn't have the right terms, and that was a big learning thing for us in that moment.
Yeah, it didn't happen again.
So we haven't let that happen again. Now we've it's really important that we're building kind of a relationship with our manufacturers as well, and it's a real partnership. But that was a big lesson. I think challenges now, as I touched on earlier, is that agility piece, that we have a bigger team, we have more processes in place, and it's like, how do we stay agile as a business? We want to still be making decisions quickly and reacting quickly. So we brought in a management team last year to help support kind of that decision making piece and kind of communication across the business as well. That's kind of what we're working on currently.
Yeah, no, I love that. It goes back to that mindset, agility. You know, the reality is things are going to happen, aren't they? You know, and we could get off this podcast and we could have rain for the next 30 days.
Exactly. I think it's how you attack problems. And I think it's all about that mindset. You've got to be positive in the situations. And as I don't know what you think, Sammy, but as leaders, you're constantly problem solving. It's almost like I said, and I did a LinkedIn post the other day about kind of being titled as like the firefighter. You're fighting fires every day, and it's a job that you don't sign up for. But essentially, it's
where do you think that? Do you think? I mean, obviously, you referred to your father at the beginning. Do you think that sort of seeing your dad dealing with partly comes from, you know, now obviously, you know, there's just it's part of the game, it's part of the process. You know, it's, you know, everything's solvable, resolvable sort of thing. You've seen him do X, Y, Z, so you're tough and resilient, and
I think, definitely. I think resilience is such a huge part of being a business owner, and like there's so many challenges and you have to be resilient. I think we sadly lost our dad in 2016, so that kind of going through grief and that kind of thing, that teaches you so much in terms of being resilient. So I think we've applied a lot of our kind of grief in that sense and put it into the business, and that taught us a lot. And it also makes you look at kind of the family in an inspiring way. Like we saw how hard our dad worked and what he did, and like how hard he lived life as well. He worked hard and he enjoyed life to the full, and I think that's what it's all about as well.
Well, he's going to be very, very proud of you ladies, that's for sure. That is one. Thank you for sharing that. So I know also on your LinkedIn, Steph, that you talked about automation, you know, and so I think, you know, we can't really do an episode now without sort of bringing in sort of AI and the sort of things that you're willing to share, you know, obviously maybe what your stance is on AI and automation in the business, and maybe share some of the things that you're actually doing in the business around AI and automation.
So, I mean, for us, it's a massive focus this year. It's one of our 2025 objectives that we shared with the team in our last brand day. So everyone across the business is working on how we can become more efficient, how can we streamline processes, automate through tech and software and AI. And yeah, it's an objective that we've set for this year to become a lot more kind of efficient as a business, whether it be through AI or just by automating processes. So we're leaning into things like kind of advanced commerce, which is a tool that will put the right products in front of the right customers. Using AI. So at the minute we've got thousands of SKUs, and that kind of task of manually kind of moving product around to depending on weather or depending on kind of what's launched is very time consuming. So using AI to kind of help streamline that process is a big one for us. Inventory tools to support with kind of analyzing data and looking at how much we need to buy our products. So there's a lot of kind of different softwares that we're leaning into. Obviously ChatGPT is one that all the team are using, but there's so much that we're doing to basically automate as much as we can, so we can become more an efficient business to help us scale over the coming years.
So do you, when you have your brand days, then is that part of the itinerary on the day, right? Where are we with our sort of AI? And do you have like advocates within the business that have sort of been given the reins, right? Go and explore this. Go and here's 20 subscriptions to this, or maybe not 20, but here's a budget to go and try this. Sort of testing, trialing, but you're making the team aware. The attitude towards it is, right, we've got to explore this for the betterment of the business and to make us more lean, but ultimately to be able to move faster and progress the business.
Yeah, we tasked each department to kind of come back to us from brand day and kind of in the next month, so the next few weeks, or hopefully we'll have every department's kind of feedback on what processes, what 3 processes within their team they feel like can be either automated through AI or made more efficient. So we've kind of tasking everyone within the
like team. A competition maybe, is it? Or is there going to be prizes? Or?
No, I don't think. I mean, it's just having everyone adopt that mindset that we can lean into AI to help. I think a lot of people have been scared of it, and I think it's trying to make sure that everyone adopts that mindset where it's going to make our lives easier, it's going to make us more efficient, it's going to help us to grow. Kind of looking at what their feedback is, and then what do we feel like is going to be the priorities for this year.
I'd love to do maybe another episode with you ladies, maybe in a year's time, to talk more about that, because I think it's people we talk about on the podcast quite a lot. What are the things that keep you up at night? And obviously a lot of people, it's maybe finance and things like that. But it's AI for me. AI is literally in my brain 20 hours a day. It's just like, and some of the things we're doing is just mind blowing. The sort of the advancements we're getting, the time we're saving to then enable our team to do more, strategy work and more implementation with AI. And that's just, it's amazing.
So much opportunity there, definitely.
Yeah. We're working with an e-com consultant at the minute as well that is kind of focusing on all that side of things. So, being an e-commerce brand, you can't shy away from it. We need to be leaning into it as much as we can.
Yeah. There's just so many areas, isn't there? I mean, you covered them there, but obviously you go to the marketing piece, but then you're thinking about that operational piece, the ordering, the upselling, the cross-selling, the images, obviously the content, thousands of SKUs, millions of words on the website that can be automatically adjusted based on what's ranking on page 1 now by scanning Search Console, GA, page 1, Google, automatically making more recommending changes. And it's just incredible. The advantage that you can get if you're like semi-first mover, where a lot of people are sleeping on it. And some of the things we're seeing with some of our clients is just like, wow. It's good. I love it. So being sisters, I think that's the question I want to ask next. Obviously working together, how do you balance working together, sort of professional, personal? Obviously grow up together, but there must be some challenges every now and then when when you've got one idea, you've got the other. Steph, you've got a slightly different opinion on something. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, for us, I feel really lucky. Like, we've got such a great relationship and we love what we do. So it doesn't feel like we're having to separate business and kind of personal life, but we're so close as a family. And it kind of works really well for us. we're generally very aligned. As Sammy and I always say, like, we're co-lead as a business. And yeah, it just works really well. I take my hat off to anyone who runs a business on their own. It's so difficult, and it always is nice that we've got each other to lean on. You know, like if one of us is having a tougher day or finding things a little bit more challenging, then the other is there to kind of pick up and support. So for us, it works really well. And you know, outside of like personal, we have the same group of friends. We actually live next door to each other as well.
Oh, do you?
We're literally around each other.
You're next door, and you got the same friends ish. Yeah.
So
have you got a door between the houses then inside?
Panel down in the garden where the kids.
Have you like a drop panel? It's like on those adverts where they have a paddle that they talk to their neighbours. You actually have a paddle that you can go. Yeah.
Our husband partner.
It's like who's doing a barbecue today? Is it you doing it? Am I doing it?
Yeah, our husband and partners are joking around making the fence like flippable to make almost like a kind of table tennis fence. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that would be brilliant. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for us, if we obviously it works really well, and so we wouldn't be able to have all those things in our life if it didn't work, and it just clicks. So we just get each other.
And I think obviously even before the business, like the bond that we've got, like is, I don't know, it sounds cheesy, but it's unbreakable. Like we've been through so much together in life that it's always family first. And I think that value as well is felt within the business as well. So yeah, no matter what happens, kind of, it would never kind of have an impact on mine and Steph's relationship. And thankfully we are generally normally aligned. And if we have difference of opinions, we work through it. And I think we respect each other's skill sets as well, and each other's strengths. So Steph is obviously more kind of business minded, financial, kind of operational. I'm more product creative. As much as we both kind of cover all areas, we respect where each other's kind of strengths and skill sets lies and trust each other impeccably. So yeah, although we are kind of generally aligned when we do have differences, we kind of lean into kind of each other's strengths too to make the.
That is lovely. I really appreciate you sharing that. That was really lovely. So if you were to play table tennis, then who would win?
We're very competitive. Well, I actually don't know. It could be like 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 5 and keep going.
Keep going until.
Keep going, yeah. 22, 22, 24.
Yeah.
So, Sammy, Steph, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Last couple of questions. Sort of crystal ball. Obviously, you know what you're likely to be. Obviously the vision and the you know the things that you share with the team in the brand days, etc. But you know, maybe if you could share a couple of your future goals with the listeners, that would be lovely.
Yeah, I think obviously we touched on one of the biggest ones is automation and leaning into kind of AI this year. That is a big focus for us. So kind of covered that quite a lot. I think the other things is kind of community and building kind of those in real life experiences for our customer and just getting in front of our customer a bit more. I think this is probably one that we've probably been a little bit behind the curve on, and actually being an online business, you can get so kind of stuck in that habit of just trading digitally. But for us, kind of getting in front of that customer is so important. So just doing more community events, and getting them kind of immersed in the brand as well. I think that's so important, being an online business, that we're bringing those in real life events to them, and just building that community. So that's a massive focus. I think international expansion is one we can't shy away from. We're 95% still UK based in terms of our customer. So I think for us it's about setting those foundations in place, kind of getting all the automation done and all the kind of tech stack and software that we want to invest in, that will then allow us to kind of really scale the business over the coming years. And international expansion is so exciting because as I always say, we're still very much kind of UK based. So
yeah, no, very, very exciting. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. I look forward to keeping an eye on things from a distance, and I know my team will be like, have you seen what they're doing now? And but yes, no, I really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing everything there. Now, I like to finish every episode with a book recommendation. Do you have a book each to recommend?
Yeah. I think we both read one recently. I mean, I read the book. Steph used AI to summarize the book, which
I love it.
Summarizes, a lot of the conversation today. But it was called Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell, and it come at a great time because I feel like last year we was both just drowning in workload, and it was all about kind of how entrepreneurs a lot of time build businesses that they kind of grow to hate, and how you can stop that from happening. It's how you systematically buy back your time so that you can focus on the things that really matter and still enjoy your life as well. And
love it.
Kind of offloading things to people that have kind of a lower chargeable rate, and basically buying back your time so that you can.
I love the fact that you read a book about saving time, and Steph didn't even read the book. She used AI to it's like double win.
Yeah, I mean, I did actually, because I actually prefer listening on podcasts rather than reading books. I just find it from efficiency and time perspective.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. You sat there for 5 hours. It's tricky, isn't it? Or 2 hours.
Unless I'm on holiday, I do enjoy reading a book, but day to day, it's just easier just to put a podcast on when you're driving to work or when you're off and doing stuff. So multitask.
It's literally like that book's like my brain at the moment. How can we not do that? You know, it's like we built a little bot last week that basically every single email that comes into the business now, there's an automated draft of a reply written. And it's quite straightforward, but we spend about 120 hours a month replying to emails. So now that's down to probably 30 hours. We just saved 100 hours. That's probably 150 grand a year saved.
It's that efficiency piece, isn't it? Ensuring that as a business you're efficient and automate as much as possible.
Well, ladies, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. For those that want to find out more about you guys, more about Pretty Lavish, what's the best way to do that?
So our socials, obviously Pretty Lavish UK on Instagram and TikTok, and they're our main platforms, and then also LinkedIn to find a bit more about the team and kind of what we're doing behind the scenes of the business, and obviously our website as well. To see all the product.
Lovely. And obviously you guys post regularly on LinkedIn, so obviously you can follow you on there as well and follow the journey on there. Well, thank you for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good chatting to you.
If you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe or follow button wherever you are listening to this podcast. So you're always the first to know when a new episode is released. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you on the next one.